Welcome. I'd like to call to order the Town Council regular session at 5 o'clock. And the date is Monday, March 19th. And the agenda for today is to hopefully adopt a preliminary budget. So with that said, could we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Could we please have the roll call?
President Whaley.
Present.
Council Vice President McEntee.
Here.
Councilwoman Eddy.
Here.
Councilwoman Fogarty. Here. Councilman O'Neill.
Here.
All members are present.
Thank you, Sue. Usually what happens with the budget is we go through it line by line. If we could possibly think about a motion to waive the reading of the budget and place the budget on the table for discussion. What do you think about that?
I move to waive the reading of the budget and have an open discussion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that? Ready to vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries 5-0-0. So at this time, I'm going to ask if there's any amendments or anybody like to discuss any changes in the budget.
I'd like to move to adopt the budget as written with an amendment adding $7,000 to account number 1370. That would be changing it from 0 to 7,000. That would be for the contribution to the Chamber of the Southern Rhode Island Chamber of Commerce.
Second.
We have motion and a second. I'm going to open it for discussion here at the table. I'm sorry, Polly?
Yeah, Ella, that would mean that if we want to pass the budget, we have to pass it with that 7,000 in?
Well, we will take a vote on this amendment, and
Or is it on
then,
the, excuse me, that is an amendment, the 7,000?
right, we're going to, that's an motion to amend the town manager's proposed budget from 0 to 7,000, and then we'll take a vote on that. And then if there's any other changes, we'll take each change and we'll vote on that, and then we'll do a final vote on the entire budget. Does that help?
Well, I just want to be certain we're not voting on the budget, we're voting on the amendment.
Right. We're only looking at, if I can just kind of repeat, a motion, let's see, from Carol Hagan McEntee, amending the town manager's proposed budget. I think she mentioned line 1370. And from 0 to 7,000, from 0, T-O, 7,000. That's the only thing that is on the
Let me
floor
just
right
clear
now.
it up, though, Ella. I was moving to adopt the budget as written with an amendment as to that one line item to increase by 7,000.
That's
That's what I seconded.
I'm sorry, that's,
Because you sounded like we're voting just on the amendment.
right.
It sounds like we're voting to adopt the budget. And we're
I would suggest that the council consider addressing amendments only and then have one final vote on the entire budget, as amended or as it stands after the discussions. So what I would suggest is that if there is a motion to amend the budget where that account 1370 would be increased by from 0 to 7,000, that be considered as an independent item, because if you vote on it, it would be all-inclusive, and it would adopt the budget with that 7,000. If there's other amendments that other members would wish to consider, they would be prevented from presenting those amendments at this time. So I would suggest that Carol revise her motion to be an amendment for consideration only of the increase from 0 to 7,000 on that account, and allow the budget to remain until other amendments are considered if they come forward.
Okay. So I'll revise my motion to to amend the budget by adding $7,000 to line item account 1370, which is currently at 0, to add $7,000 for the Southern Rhode Island Chamber of Commerce. This is a contribution from the town that has gone on for at least 20 years, if not longer, and I feel that the supporting local outside agencies that work toward the betterment of this community is very important, and I believe that the Southern Rhode Island Chamber of Commerce does exactly that.
And I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Kathy?
I understand the motion is on the table, and as presented, probably won't matter what I'm going to say, but I was just going to say that at the meeting the other night, I brought up the thought process of maybe giving them $4,000, and then the $3,000 that was for holiday spending, that we might think about giving that to the Downtown Merchants Association and to the Peacedale Revitalization. I think even Leslie Chenard said that, they're always looking for more money, and that directly affects the businesses, directly on Main Street. But, I know the motion is on the table as it stands, and it's probably going to pass, but I just thought that that might be an option that the council could look at, so all the $7,000 stays in the community.
Thank you. Any other discussion? At this time, I'm going to open this piece of the amendment on the table for any discussion from the public. Usually at this time, we don't have anyone here from the public, so we usually don't do this.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Maureen Martin, 271 Warden's Pond Road. And so I agree with Carol that probably the Chamber of Commerce does work towards the betterment of the town. I assume they do. I'm not involved in the organization or the business community to the extent that I would know, but I know that that's the kind of work that they do. But I would wonder if the council has some stated criteria for other groups who might want to get involved in a grant such as this. So because it was my understanding previously that this kind of money was for folks who did, more like nonprofit 501c3 groups. But I'm wondering what other kind of groups could come forward. So what kind of criteria do we have stated for that?
I'm going to turn that question over to Steve Alford.
The only criteria the council has used in the past is a funding request letter that comes forward. And in the past, the agencies that we're talking about, Narrow River Preservation, they're using those funds directly for testing, water quality testing. Peacedale Neighborhood is provided with $1,000, so too is the Downtown Merchants, and they're using those for promotion of their areas. Washington County Development Corp does affordable housing, and the South Kingstown Partnership for Prevention, and Washington County Regional Planning. Those are the only districts or the agencies that are receiving the funding. There has been no specific criteria that's been developed by the council. It's really been on an annual basis that they reaffirm the support levels that they've had in prior years.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess I then would like to just state that most of that sounds like very worthy groups that are doing some work towards the betterment of South Kingstown. But I would like to go on record as a taxpayer here that I think my tax money could be put to better use than supporting a group that has the ability to raise money and that has membership fees and that could be self-supporting. And as some of you know, I talk to people for a living. And I've talked to a lot of people here in South Kingstown who feel the same. So if there's some sort of way, as I understand, for us to petition this to be reconsidered, all of those folks will be signing on to that, I'm sure. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm just going to add a few other things, just with prior knowledge that was addressed at other town council meetings. There were a couple of events to support Domestic Violence Resource Center, and I think that the contribution that was made back to the community for some of the organizations that were 501c3. And the other thing that I wanted to restate that I brought up, I don't remember the original date, actually I think it was January 23rd, was that most of the members of the chamber just give back to this community through different donations. I know I went to the South Kingstown Care Spelling Bee, and it was just table after table of donations from, businesses that belong to the chamber. So I'm just going to add that, in reference to your question, Maureen. Thank you. Further discussion here, or other comments in the audience? With that said, we ready to vote?
Yes.
Okay. So the motion is to increase from 0 to 7,000. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Nay.
Opposed?
Nay?
Abstention? Could we please have a roll call vote, please?
Council President Whaley?
Aye.
Vice President McEntee?
Aye.
Councilwoman Eddy?
Nay?
Councilwoman Fogarty?
Nay.
Councilman O'Neill?
Aye.
The ayes have it, 3-2.
Motion passes 320. Thank you. Do we have any other amendments? I know I have one that I would like to discuss here at the table. I would like us to possibly consider having an amendment to the town manager's proposed budget for line item 1372, Washington County Regional Planning Council. They have asked for $6,000. We have given them $2,500, and I'm asking for $500 be added to that, bringing that up from $2,500 to $3,000. And the reason, so I'm going to make that motion if there's a second.
I'll second that.
We have motion and a second, and I'm going to open it for any discussion. Jim?
Yeah, I've, for a number of years, attended many of their meetings, and it's probably one of the best ways for all our regional council participants from around Washington County to finally meet, talk about common problems, issues in front of us, not just political, but everything from the ocean to transfer stations to planning, you name it. A very, very valuable resource to see what other communities on our borders, what's working for them and what's not. So I would support the $500 gain. I know they're hurting the $6,000 we used to give them. Like all these other agencies, everybody's running lean. Everyone needs help, inside, outside, charitable, profit, nonprofit. Everyone's hurting, but I think this organization has been tremendously valuable to this community and to Southern Rhode Island and Washington County, obviously.
I'd like to just add that I have been attending a lot of the meetings. They alternate between a night meeting and an 8:30 meeting at Kettle Pond. And they did the presentation here for transfer development rights. There's also a grant to clean up some of the dams. And I think that looking at what we benefited from transfer development rights and the further study that they're going to do there far exceeds the $3,000. They also have their office in town, which brings revenue. And I think that the work that they do is good work, and I'm glad to be a part of that, and I'm hoping that we can further expand the collaboration with them. So, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Still
Polly?
discussion.
Polly?
Oh, I also went to those meetings. I'm interested that you found them so valuable. They certainly are a good idea. I found that the majority of the things they discussed when I attended the meetings were things that South Kingstown had already done. And I thought it was interesting. It's certainly a nice group of people, but, and you said $500?
Yes.
I think that's fine, but I did not find them, and it sounds as if maybe they have improved over the years, since I got off.
They have.
Yeah.
And I've heard that before, Polly, and I think that they probably have taken a new route, and they have some new leadership, and I'm hoping possibly to be, a piece of that leadership to move things in a certain direction. But they did send out Congress of Councils questionnaire, and they're looking at, if you just want me to read through the list, I mean, there's some things on here that we're not doing that they're really going to pursue, so I find it. Any further discussion here at the table? Kathy?
When I was council president, I also attended those meetings, usually down at the Kettle Pond Building. And they do fine work, and I know that, I'm just reiterating, I think Polly pretty much read my mind on that one, that at that point, when we were servicing, they were doing a lot of work with the electrical contracts and so forth, where we were already involved with some of that work, not contracting, but some of the things looking at, energy programs for the different communities. I have no problem with giving them an extra $500, and I think that they do good work, and as long as it's positively affecting South Kingstown. But a lot of the projects that they had done were already undertaken and already in place in the town of South Kingstown, so I think that's probably why the funding wasn't always fully there, so just to give a rational explanation of it. So if there's more that can help the town of South Kingstown, I'm more for supporting them, absolutely.
Good. Any other further discussion? With this amendment, again, I'm going to open the podium for any comment from the public. Seeing none, we ready to vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries 500. Are there any other amendments to the town manager's proposed budget? Seeing none.
We accept the budget?
Second?
Excuse me.
And Steve, if you could give us the verbiage.
Yeah, yes.
With the two amendments that have been passed, the expenditure statement will be increased by $7,500. I would suggest the council consider a third amendment, and that amendment would be as follows: a resolution amending the town manager's proposed budget whereby account 41401, payments in lieu of taxes, be increased by $7,500 from $227,206 to $234,706. That will provide the expenditure to income statement to be in balance without any changes to any of the other revenue accounts. The additional $7,500 is available because subsequent to the submission of my budget to the council, it was determined that Bayberry House, I believe is the name of it, the new housing development near the police station, they will be paying, as a property exempt, 8% of the rental income that's received. That's forecast in the area of almost $7,900. I'm recommending only $7,500 because this would be the first year. So with the amendment that I've suggested council consider, we'll have the budget back in balance after the $7,500 in expenditure increases have been recognized on the revenue statement.
Verbiage okay with you? Polly made the motion. Thank you, Steve. Do we have a second?
Second?
Any further discussion here at the table? Kathy?
Before we vote, I don't want it to get lost in the shuffle of everything, that this is a 0% tax increase for the community of South Kingstown, and it's actually something that we should be celebrating. And I don't think you're going to see that in many other communities in the state of Rhode Island. I don't know if you've seen any forecasts of anybody else's budget, but that's not what I'm hearing out there.
Just one, Westerly.
Oh, well, Westerly, they could
Yes.
probably do better and actually save some money, but that's another story down there. I want to thank Steve and Alan for their incredible work as usual, and it doesn't pass me by that on some weekends I'm driving by in the budget season there of February, and people's cars are in the parking lot that shouldn't be there on Saturdays, but insist on coming in and working on their budgets, and I see it. I know what they're doing, and I appreciate it. That's all.
I'd also like to say, job well done. We are proud of this budget, and I think the people will be happy with it.
Any further comments?
Just our annual salute to Alan and Steve. Always a job well done, and forensic audits will never be the same with the two of them on this. Great work, as always.
Right, and I was just looking at my notes. I mean, the collection of taxes that's been done to the percentage, the very impressive negotiations that you've done with the health care, with the Rhode Island League of Cities and Towns. It's just ecstatic that you're part of that committee and looking at all of that and all of the detail that you brought together. Steve, you know, it's just, it's amazing. So the town is unbelievably fortunate to have the two of you in the seats that you're in. So thank you. So we have a motion and we have a second. Any further discussion? I'm going to open it up to the public one more time. Seeing none, we're ready to vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries 500. We have a preliminary budget. Congratulations.
Did you vote on the amendment for the revenues?
We did. For all the, for the other
Wait,
two
we did
amendments?
the, you wanted the expenditures, right?
Yeah.
We just did the motion for the expenditure statement, did we not?
No, I don't think that you did. What I would
Not
ask
do the
is that...
1372?
We just had the amendment.
Caught up in saying nice things to us. So I would still ask you to formally vote on the resolution to increase the revenue statement in account 41401 by $7,500 from the $227,206 to $234,706.
That was the vote that I'll take, but I'll take it again. Polly made the motion, and Jim, I
Seconded.
believe, seconded it. Any further discussion? I will open it back up to the public one more time. Okay, we are voting on the entire budget. From,
You're voting on the amendment.
my
It's on the
apologies,
amendment.
my apologies.
Doing the amendment again.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries 500.
Now, I move
Now,
Now we're going to vote on the
pass the
budget
budget
as amended.
amendments.
from 227,206,000 to 234,706,000.
No, we did that one already.
That was the
That's
final
just the
one.
revenues for the pilot.
All right,
just
the
did that.
entire budget.
The
The
entire
amended
budget as
budget-
amended.
I move that we pass the entire budget as amended.
Second.
All in favor? Actually,
Aye.
let me just ask if there's any discussion, and further discussion from the public. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, budget carries, motion carries, 5-0. So, do we have motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed,
Aye.
abstention, motion carries. Meeting adjourned at, what was it, 5:30, 5:25?